Consider the following graph. Which of the following options represents the same relationship as demonstrated in this graph? To solve this question, let's see if we can create an equation based off of this graph, starting with our b value. Where does the graph intercept the y-axis? It looks like it's right at y equals -1. So if our b value is -1, we just need our m value, or our slope, to be able to write this equation in y equals mx plus b form. To find our slope, let's pick 2 points on the graph. We could pick this point and this point, -2, -2, and 2, 0. And plug that into our slope equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It doesn't really matter which y you set as your 2 and your 1, you just have to make sure that you follow the same rules for your x. So if I make this my y2, then this has to be my x2. If I make this my y2, then this has to be my x2. I'm going to make this my y2. We'll have -2 minus 0 is over -2 minus 2. When we do that math, -2 minus 0 is just -2, and -2 minus 2 will give us -4. When we simplify this fraction down, we'll pull out the greatest common factor from both the numerator and denominator, which is -2, and that will leave us with a positive 1/2. So our slope is 1/2. That makes our full equation y is equal to 1/2 times x minus 1. Now that we have our equation, I'll erase and we will start looking at our answer choices. Let's start by looking at answer choice A. In answer choice A, we need to compare the equation given to the equation that we found. And in order to do that, we'll have to isolate the variable y in the equation in answer choice A. So let's bring that out to the side here. Now let's do opposite operations to isolate y. We'll add 2y to both sides, leaving us with x is equal to 2 plus 2y. Then we'll need to subtract, again using opposite operations. X minus 2 is equal to 2y. Then the final step, 2 is being multiplied to y, so the opposite is dividing everything by 2. These will cancel, giving us, and I'm just going to flip y over to the other side. Y is equal to x, and if it exists in math, there's always one of them. So x divided by 2 is the same thing as 1/2 x minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. This equation does match the equation that we created for our graph, and therefore A is the correct answer. At that point, you can mark A and move on with the rest of the test, but for the sake of the video, I'll go through and show you why B, C, and D are incorrect. Let's start by taking a look at C and D. Answer choice C says a linear graph that has a negative slope and intercepts with the axes at y equals -2 and x equals 2. The only true statement in this entire answer choice is here. It intercepts the x-axis at x equals 2, but it intercepts the y-axis at y equals -1, not -2. And it has a positive slope. It is going up from left to right, not down, so it does not have a negative slope, and that makes answer choice C incorrect. For answer choice D, none of the options demonstrate the same relationship as the graph. That's incorrect because A demonstrates the same relationship as the graph. Then finally, for answer choice B, we'll have to plug in values from this graph and see if we get true statements. I'm going to choose to start at the bottom of this table because these are positive values and will just be a little bit easier to work with, a little bit faster too. Let's plug in 2 for y, and that's equal to 1/2 times x, which is 4 minus 1. 2 is equal to half of 4 is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 will give us 1, not 2, making B incorrect and making A our correct answer.